All right, old school NBA fans, self-research, NBA facts. Got another video for you. As you can see, I'm setting up my office downstairs here in the basement. Gonna make some improvements to the channel, both the backdrop, eventually gonna get some video and graphics and all that. I'm still pretty small time right now, but you will see some noticeable improvements here in the coming months. As always, I want to say thanks to anybody who watches my videos, subscribes to my channel. I really appreciate it. You guys are great. I appreciate you sticking with me. Got a lot of loyal subscribers, and that's terrific. In this specific video here, what I'm going to be talking about is game score. Now, I guess game score is kind of a modern, analytic, metric, whatever you want to call it. But I don't think it's it goes basically to how good of a game you had overall, with your overall stats. In fact, here's the definition of game score. It's measured to a player's productivity for a single game. It measures points, field goals, field goal attempts, free throws, free throw attempts, offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, steals, assists, blocks, personal fouls, turnovers. It says that 40 is an outstanding score and 10 is an average performance. 10 isn't, is nothing special. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to look at the three players that a lot of people want to compare, and that would be Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Michael Jordan. So what I looked at is how many games did each player score a 40 or more in game score, or under 15 in game score. So it's going to measure your cream of the crop best games, and it'll also have your bad games. Now, right off the bat, in my mind, I'm thinking, well, LeBron James is a point forward, so it's going to favor him, right? Well, let me get into it. Now, I made a lot of concessions with Kobe. He played with Shaquille O'Neal for 8 years. 1997, 98, 99, 2000, 01, 2, 3, and 4. 8 seasons. Now, Kobe wasn't the primary guy in the first probably at least 3 seasons. Then it became more of a 1A, 1B thing. And then, you could argue even in the last couple of years they played together, Kobe might have even been the primary guy as he was entering his prime and Shaq was leaving it. But what I did was I only used Kobe's career after Shaq left LA. So that was 101 games. But if you go by percentage, then it doesn't matter how you do it. So Kobe Bryant, in his 101 games, had one game score in the playoffs over 40 points. And that was the 2008 first round game 2 versus Denver, a 43.6 game score. That was his best. Now, he did have another over 40-point game, but that was with Shaq. But I'm leaving that aside. I'm trying to be as fair because I can already hear the comments coming. When you play with Shaq in the triangle, he's going to be the number one option, and Kobe's game score won't be as high, and yada yada. Fine. We're not even going to bring Shaq into it, because Michael Jordan and LeBron never played quite like a situation like that. When you had, a dominant center like that, an established superstar. In fact, in 1998, Shaquille O'Neal was first team All-NBA. I mean, he's already been to the finals, already well on his way. LeBron did play with Dwayne Wade, who won the finals MVP, a scoring title, championship, all that too. But it's not exactly the same thing because Dwayne Wade was a wing player. But I'm keeping it as fair as I can. Now, out of Kobe Bryant's 101 games without Shaq in the playoffs, he had an under 15 game score 27 times for a percentage of 26.73% of the time. Now, the one game that he had over 40, I forgot to mention, was 0.99%. So basically 1% of the time he's getting a game score above 40. And under 15, he's getting a game score, like I said, 27 times. Under 15, 26.73% of the time. So a little bit more than a quarter of the time, his game score was under 15. LeBron James, in his 287 playoff games, he had 6 game scores over 40. This is very fact-checkable stuff. I always encourage everybody, fact-check everything. Fact-check me, fact-check those morons on Fox and ESPN, the Nick Wrights and Shannon Sharps. These guys are not as knowledgeable as even you guys are. I mean, us, the fans. We know more than these clowns do. We can fact check them all day long. And I've done it so many times, that's why I started this channel. But anyway, LeBron James in his 287 playoff games, 6 times he scored over a 40 in game score. Under 15 game score 35 times for a percentage of 12.2%. So on its face, I'd say, pretty good. Those 6 games were 2009 Eastern Conference Semifinals Game 3 versus Atlanta. He had a 43.8 game score. Same year, 2009 Eastern Conference Finals Game 1 versus Orlando. LeBron got a 44.7 game score. Ironically, they lost that game. 16-point lead and lost. That's just crazy to me. But 2016 Finals Game 6 against Golden State, a 42.5 game score. That's really good. In 2018 first round Game 2 versus Indiana, a 40.9 game score. 2018 Eastern Conference Semifinals Game 2 versus Toronto, a 41.6. And he got a 41.3 in the 2018 Finals Game 1 versus Golden State. Okay. So you would say, going by game score, going by percentages, LeBron is better than Kobe in game score. And like I said, I feel like game score favors LeBron being a point forward. He had 6 games over 40, and in his 287 games, that comes to 2.0%. And the under 15 game score of 35 times in 287 games comes to 12.2%. So then we get to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan played 179 playoff games. He scored over a 40 in game score 7 times. So that's one more than LeBron in 108 less games. So to me, that's very impressive. That's very impressive. Under 15 game score, Michael Jordan, that happened to him 16 times out of 179 games. Now, the 7 times over 40 was at 3.9% of a clip. That's about double what LeBron at 2.0%, and that's 4 times Kobe at 0.99%. Now, the under 15, Kobe Bryant was at 26.73% of the time. LeBron James at 12.2% of the time, so that's less than half as often as Kobe. And Jordan at 8.9%. So that's about 3/4 the amount of times as LeBron, and that's about 1/3 of the time as many as Kobe. So going by that, you would have to say Michael Jordan was, he was the game score monster. Now, Michael Jordan's 7 40-plus game score games were. His very first one was actually his 6th playoff game ever. That was 1986 first round versus Boston, game 2. He goes for 47.2, a monster performance. That's the record 63-point game that he set in Boston. The next one, a 40.3 game, was in 1988, Eastern Conference semifinals versus Cleveland in game 2. His next one, he had a 41.4 in 1989, Eastern Conference semifinals versus the Knicks in game 3. Also in 1989, Eastern Conference Finals, game 3 versus Detroit, he had a 42.8. So that's very good to do that against such a good defense, to have that good of a game. And then his best game score of his career in the playoffs, 49.8. He almost got 50. 1992 first round, game 3 versus Miami. He also had a 41.3 in the 1993 Eastern Conference Finals, and that would have been game 4 versus the Knicks. And then he had a 42.8 in the 1997 first round, game 2 versus Washington Bullets. So, as you can see, there is absolutely no question that Michael Jordan was the better game score player. And again, that's measuring a player's productivity. In the beginning of the video, I told you what they look at for everything. And again, I would say because Michael Jordan straight up beat LeBron by 1 and playing 108 less games, I mean, that's a huge margin. I mean, he is twice as often, he's 3.9% to 2.0%, twice as often getting those big games, but only less than about 70% of the time getting those under 15 games. And when it comes to Kobe, I know the league was a little different and everything like that. It might have been a little more defensive sound. That may have been part of it. But, Kobe just didn't have the all-around stats that Jordan and LeBron did. Doesn't mean that anybody's better than anybody. But when it comes to game score, there's no doubt Michael Jordan is the better individual player than these two. I mean, what are we going by? I did a video not long ago showing game highs, series highs, season highs, on all these stats. And again, Michael Jordan was just better. And, Kobe had he did have better competition than Jordan and LeBron did. He did. And that could be a contributing factor as well. I don't doubt that. But to have it a third of the time, having those under 15 games compared to Kobe, or 4 times as many as Kobe, yeah, that's more than just competition. That's something else. It's not like Kobe every round played these great teams. He played some teams that were nothing special. There's plenty of them. But anyway, I'm not taking anything away from Kobe. This doesn't measure what he did with Shaq. And it doesn't measure, what he did in the clutch and to win those back-to-back championships, all that stuff. That may have not shown up in the box score necessarily, but, it led to winning. No doubt about that. But anyway, you decipher this how you want. But in my mind, there is no question that Michael Jordan was just simply a more efficient and productive player than either LeBron James or Kobe Bryant. They all had moments where they played weak teams. They all had moments where they played, tough competition. Kobe probably, in fact, he played tougher competition, but it wasn't worlds apart, but it was stiffer competition for sure. LeBron, his competition for the most part was very mild, to say the least. So anyway, that's all I got for this video. And as usual, thanks for watching. Hit that like button for me if you don't mind. If you haven't subscribed, I'd really appreciate it. And That's it for now.